Hey, and welcome to the Carpio Corner. My name's Chris.
And I'm Glow.
And today we were going to be talking about goals for 2024.
I know. It's crazy.
It's right around the corner.
Christmas is only a couple days away.
I know.
And so is the new year. So we figured we'd talk about some goals.
Yeah. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you stick around. All right. So, Glow. Goals for 2024.
Yep.
First off, I want to ask you, I think a question that a lot of us tend to have, which is, how do you, set goals? How do you come to the goals that you want for the next year?
It's a good question. So, I think, I just took a couple minutes to kind of write some down. And I was thinking about that. I was like, I don't know, I started thinking, in my brain, I just pulled up a calendar. And I was like, okay, what months are in the year?
Yeah.
I was like, what's happening in those months already?
Yeah.
Literally no idea. There's not really any set plans for next year. It's just an open year.
Yeah.
And then going from there, it's like, okay, what am I already doing that I want to see, either grow or, what are kind of some thoughts I've had this year, new things that have been haven't got around to that. And next year's an open year.
Yeah.
I should start on that. So kind of, I guess, from those two places, what's happening now and what I want to happen. And there's all different areas of goals too.
Yeah.
There's spiritual goals, there's physical goals, there's, mental, emotional, professional.
Yeah.
And so kind of going through those two. But I try always to set realistic goals.
How many goals is a reasonable amount to set for the new year?
Well, as I was writing some down, I have kind of 7-ish that I wrote down.
Yeah.
And I think I was counting them because, when we were sitting here thinking about it and writing, I was like, I could get to 10. 10 would be a good amount.
10 goals?
I know. And then I was like, that's kind of a lot. And also, I'm at 7.
Yeah.
And if I really have to dig and think about more, they're probably just random things I'm writing down.
Yeah.
And they're not actually things that are good goals that I can write down. They're just I should write 3 more. And one of them was going to be drink more water. I'm like, get out of here. No. That's been a goal every single year. And it shouldn't even be a goal. It should just be, I don't know.
Do you ever look back at your goals from the previous year?
Yes and no. I haven't written down goals for quite a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the other day, I kind of wrote down looking back at 2023, what happened in the year.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's hard to be I had this goal and it was accomplished. Because I didn't, especially for this year, I didn't really have any goal, concrete goals I wrote down. So it's hard to say. I mean, I can look back and be all these things happened. And this was crazy and this was great. And, but I can't really say there was any goals that I didn't accomplish because I didn't really do that this year. But I mean, in the past, I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I did have 5 goals. And January, I was so good. I was I'm so going to get these goals done. And it's going great. And I'm being so disciplined. And then by March, it was, I forget what they were.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's all downhill from here. But that's why this year, I did write some down that I think I've started and I would like to see continue growing next year and that are realistic and that aren't super far-fetched, save $50,000 or something like that. Something, I'm trying to do stuff that are achievable.
Yeah.
If I just continue in the progression that I'm already am.
Yeah.
And yeah. What about you? You were writing for a little bit. How do you write goals?
I think it's been really interesting because I feel like goals, I never really had goals in the new year. Like, I think at some point in my life, I probably was like, I'm going to start working out, or, like those like classic kind of examples of goals.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I started working at Grace, part of our job is to come up with goals for our ministry every year. And each boss that I've had at Grace, which I've had like a handful of them so far, have all kind of handled that differently in terms of like how much detail goes into them, or how many, or like things like that. So having that experience with them has, I think, is now informing the way that I do it today. Because I don't know if I don't even think last year I necessarily had goals.
Mm-hmm.
But for work, I have my goals.
Mm-hmm.
That's different than life. Like,
Yeah.
those are going to be, getting an intern and teaching a class, and I think I have one other one, but I don't remember what it was. But like those kinds of things, and usually my goals all kind of like land around the summer fall time, because there's like a ramp up to them because I have to prepare for them, and then there's like a ramp down from them as I'm like preparing for the next coming year. Like I'm evaluating. Like I kind of need a season of evaluation of like how did that go to know how that went. Like one of my major goals for this year, was to launch small groups. So a lot of that work took place in the summer, like actually preparation for it, launched in the fall, and now we're ramping down and looking back like how did that go. But for me, so for this year, for my personal goal, it's in line with a lot of the evaluating that I've been doing of my life over the last couple months, which I'm sure probably touch on some of the things that you have down as goals too. But I only have one. So my only goal is to solidify my common rule, which, to give the background on like the common rule, it's basically like a code that like you live by, and submitting to that code. So it's like, I mean, if you really put it in like simple terms, it's like parenting yourself almost. You're saying you can do this, but you can't do that. And you can do this, but not in this circumstance. Or you like should encourage yourself to do this. Like this is something you should be doing, and this is something you should be doing. So it's basically taking like the way that I'm basically framing it in my own mind is I'm trying to take what Paul writes in Romans about, and I took note of it too, so I can kind of read it directly. Romans 12, which is a super common passage. I think, like, if you're a longtime believer, you've heard this passage preached on or used in a message, even if it didn't have to do with the message, like a ton of times. But I feel like God's kind of like pushing me on it a little bit more. So it's Romans 12:1. It says, I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. So that part alone, right, like presenting your body as a like acceptable sacrifice, like if I were to come to God back in the Old Testament and basically that be like, all right, like here's this offering that I'm bringing to you. There's a difference between me just picking up the thing that's like closest to me and being like, how's this, and then the idea of me preparing the offering to be the best offering that it can be when it is brought to the Lord. So, in other words, a lack of intentionality versus an intentionality. And I think that same thing is true within us. Like, we're meant to be a living sacrifice, yet, and I'm speaking for myself here, many times I think that, well, if I'm meant to be a living sacrifice, And that just means like I gotta just live my life for God. But what does that mean? And how am I doing that? And am I preparing myself well to be presented to God in that way? Or am I just taking a passive route and just saying, well, I'm just going to end up there. Like the Holy Spirit's just going to do work and I'm just going to end up there. And that's true. Like the Holy Spirit will do work to help to complete the work in which he began in me, but I participate in that, and I think even when we look to the Old Testament, we see like God had a temple and there was certain parts of that temple that were designated for certain purposes. And they didn't just happen. Like there was a priest who took part in helping to prepare those things. So like all that kind of worship takes intentionality, and preparation for a sacrifice takes intentionality. And then the second part of it, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good, acceptable, and perfect. That's also a really active thing. And again, it feels like I've heard that a million times, but what my hope is in like getting this common rule sorted out for myself is that I will place myself in scenarios where I'm able to discern what is good. Like I'm going to renew my mind intentionally, not passively, like kind of what I was saying to Chris Wolf the other day, or really all of us, but then Chris Wolf was like, that was like the craziest thing I ever heard. That I would stop allowing for everything I receive to be curated for me, and instead I would curate what I receive. You know what I mean? So that's like a whole part of it. That's like all of that stuff is my hope is to step into extremely intentional living to present myself as an acceptable sacrifice to the Lord. I'm not saying I'm trying to earn my salvation. Like, I already know that what Christ has done for me is sufficient.
Yeah.
But, like, I want to live in the fullness that I think God has for me,
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I can only do one. For me personally, I can only do one, because then I can one goal. Yeah.
Like one goal at all?
This is the one goal. Yeah.
That's your one goal?
This is my one goal. Yeah. Because I think if I have more than one goal, I'm going to forget what it is. You know what I mean?
I was trying to get to 10 over here, but
Yeah, well, I just know myself,
Yeah.
like even at the end, I mean, like I had more than just a small group goal
yeah.
this last year. But do I remember what the other ones are? No.
Yeah.
So like they probably all had to do with small groups.
Yeah.
But like that's just to say, I know me really easily. I lose my focus and I get so much more interested in other things. But I think if I have this one goal that I know how to measure it, like I know what it'll look like for my common rule to be completed,
Yeah.
Then I think that the end.
Did you come up with common rule, or did you hear that?
No, that's like from it's like an ancient kind of practice. But like I know that if I can find that structure and those parameters and those kind of like guardrails to live by, then I will have completed my goal for like the year. And then those things to me is 100% worth a full year investment, because the returns on that will be for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like for the rest of my life, I will be pursuing the common rule that I formed for myself.
Yeah.
It'll probably change from time to time, because like if we have kids or if, my job changes or something like that, then I probably, like depending on what day it is, like is it that I Sabbath every Friday, or is it that I, wake up every morning and I read the word, or is it, like those, you can't be legalistic like about it, but they're meant to be it's meant to be like a tool that helps to guide you into that holy ground with the Lord. So
Nice.
how about you? What were your goals?
Now I don't feel like I want to read some of them.
What? No.
Because they feel so, like, not deep.
That's okay, babe.
I know. Well, so I feel like there's two kind of big ones. Like, there's some others that kind of, like, either roll over or I'm like, those I'm fine if they don't actually happen.
Yeah.
But there's a few that, like, I really do want to grow in. So one I think we'll definitely talk about in a future episode, which is about Sabbath.
Yeah.
And so I really do want to Sabbath well moving forward.
Yeah.
So I put that as a big goal for this next year because just in the past, like, month or two, we've implemented Sabbath into our life and we're learning what it looks like to actually practice it well.
Yeah.
And to actually be, like, just how to Sabbath well.
Yeah.
And what we should and shouldn't do, not in, like, a legalistic way, not in a rule-following way, but it's like, this does contribute to, like, Sabbath. This makes Sabbath feel stressful and not restful or anything like that. And so we've been learning that. So I really do think in the next couple months we'll really, like, learn how to Sabbath well.
Yeah.
And I really want next year to carry that out because it'd be so cool to look back at this time next year and be like, this is how our lives have changed because we actually Sabbath and we listen to that commandment of, like, Sabbathing one day a week. And I think there could be, like, a big change in our lifestyle and how we feel during the week in different ways. And I think it would be really, really awesome to a year from now be like, yeah, we Sabbaths well this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it isn't going to be perfect every single time.
Yeah.
Because, you know, life happens.
Yeah.
And so, but, like, still just knowing that we really were intentional about Sabbath, I think is a big thing for this next year. And we'll definitely talk about, like, Sabbath probably soon in an episode because I think it'll be super cool to, like, teach you guys about what that's been looking like.
Yeah, we want to bring our small group in on it too because they've been instrumental in helping to keep us accountable to it and practicing it with us. So it's been something we've all been learning about together.
Yeah.
It's been really cool.
So that'll be really cool. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've always had a little bit of a struggle with the thought of, like, what my spiritual gifts are and what God is gifting me with spiritually. And I feel like, I'm going to say I feel like, but I do think that, like, hospitality has been big in our house. And I think we love to host and we love to, just have events or have people in our home or host a dinner or whatever it looks like.
Yeah.
And I would really like to, I guess, I'm just trying to figure out how to word it. I put embrace hospitality.
Yeah.
But I think I, like, want to lean more into that spiritual gift. And, I already like being intentional when we have people over and enjoy just having, like, just girls over sometimes to hang out or, have, oh.
Sorry.
That's okay. So I think I would like to, a goal would be to lean more into learning about hospitality and not just being like, oh yeah, I like to have events here and there. Being like, okay, what does the Bible say about hospitality? What stories can I read about it?
Finishing that book that we started.
Yeah, finishing that hospitality book we started a long time ago
Yeah.
and didn't finish. So that's another one that I have down. And so those are kind of, I would say, the biggest ones and things that have started this year, you know, in my mind, in our home, that I would love to see grow. And then I did write a couple things down, such as build a Casio, which is our coffee company.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that will probably naturally progress.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would be just so cool to see it like blow up.
Yeah.
And not just to like be like a popular thing, but we've put time and investment into it, me, you, and my dad, you know, and we've had some events, but it would be just really cool to be like, we put so much time into it this year, and again this time next year, just to look back and be like, wow, a year ago this is what it looked like.
Yeah.
Now, after this more investment and time and thought and creativity put into it, this is what it looks like now.
Yeah.
And so I guess maybe that's how I write my goals, is just a year from now, what do I want it to look like? So, and just where am I putting my time this next year?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to just put my time in random places.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I want to build this here. I want to grow myself there, whatever. And then I call it the little things, because at the end of next year, again, it's not like, I don't know. I don't really care what they look like that next year too much, but I would love to learn to crochet. And I wrote that down because I said that to Dakota the other day. I was like, this next year, I'm going to do it. Because I said it a couple years ago, and I really did try, and it didn't work out. It just didn't work out. I made like one strand of a scarf, and it was awful. So I put it down.
I remember that.
And I didn't know you then.
What?
I didn't know you then.
I thought you said you just made it last year.
No.
I'm thinking.
I did embroider. I did do embroidery.
Maybe that's what I meant.
Yeah, I think that's what you meant. So you're not that fake. But I do think that if I do put some time and energy, and especially sit down with a friend who knows how to do it, I just need someone there with me. Because I need more than YouTube videos, which is what I tried before. I need someone sitting there with me, teaching me.
Yeah.
So that's something where I'm like, if that happens, cool. If it doesn't, just another year.
Just another year.
Just like this year. Just another year.
Yeah.
If the other things weren't to happen...
Get a crocheted Christmas gift.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, the other things that I said, if they weren't to happen, I would feel, sad about that. And I would be like, why didn't I do that? But the crochet, I'm like, just another year.
Yeah.
And then I put, be active.
Yeah.
Be active again. Once again, it kind of be just another year. But at the beginning of this year, I ran a 5K in April.
Got you those
and
shoes.
then I never ran again.
Yeah. You told me to start running.
Yeah, he got me new shoes. So I would love for that to happen this coming year, because it's just healthy lifestyle to be active, at least weekly, at least something once a week.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say daily, because that's unrealistic. So, yeah, that's kind of it. I put live with open hands as well, which I haven't put too much thought into what that means.
Okay.
The other day, for some reason, that phrase just came to mind of like, live with open hands. And so that's something I would like to do. Don't fully have explained what that means, other than just thinking about the fact that there really are no set plans for this next year. So why not live with open hands and not be like, I don't know. I'll think about it more and get back to you. But that's something else I wrote down. So
that's great.
Those are my goals and aspirations.
It's awesome. Well, for those of you who are listening, let us know what your goals are for this coming year. and how you come up with figuring out what makes it into your next year's goals.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really good.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And also, like, we're just chilling on the couch. So you're basically here with us.
Yeah. Thank you for listening, because I know we've been a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah.
But that's just because life is inconsistent.
Yeah, life has been crazy recently.
And especially now with Christmas, you know how,
yeah,
the last couple months of the year are. And we still have a desire to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
And to do this. It just looks different. So
Yeah.
now we're cozy on the couch.
I know. I actually like it. And
I
I don't
like
think
it
we're
too.
going back to the studio.
Probably not unless we have guests.
Yeah.
Then we would probably have to go back.
Yeah, but I think we're going to be able to get mics, like full-on mics soon, too.
We'll see.
So
We'll
get out of the
see.
iPhone stage. Because audio is not great. But for those of you who
Yes,
listen...
we know. We listened to it back and we're like, oof.
Yeah, for those of you who listen regardless of the audio, thank you.
Bless
I
you.
appreciate it. Yeah. All right, so...
Merry Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I was going to go into a deep end, but...
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, what's up for the deep end? What's something you're really hoping for Christmas?
Well,
Something
I know
you
what
really
I
hope you get.
asked for Christmas.
So which one are you hoping you get?
Which one am I hoping I get?
Yeah. Out of the things you asked for.
A puppy.
What? You
I'm
asked
just
for a
kidding.
puppy?
No, I didn't ask for a
I was
puppy.
like, we don't need a third puppy.
I know we have two good puppies. If I got these, I'm looking forward to a new pair of shoes.
Always a new pair of shoes.
So yeah, I'll show you guys if I get them.
All right,
And you'll
cool.
check them out.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I didn't really ask for... That's really like all I asked for Christmas.
Was for shoes?
Was for this new pair of shoes. Because I don't know.
What
Like, I
someone
don't-
else might get you.
Need anything really.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to think of what to even ask for when I was asked for my requests. So that's all I can say.
All right, cool.
Yeah, what about you?
Just that sound interface for our microphones.
Yes, which will also be you guys' Christmas gift.
Yeah, exactly. Because Gloria's deep breaths into the microphone will stop, so you won't hear the popping.
Wow.
Anymore.
Okay.
What?
Don't come at me like that.
I'm not trying to.
I'm sorry that I breathe well.
I'm trying to help you to remember not to speak directly into your iPhone.
Sorry, guys.
It's
I just
okay.
like to be clear
It's hard not to do it.
and sound like I breathe well.
All right. Well, thank you guys for catching us on this episode. We will
See you in the new year.
see you in the very new year,
2024.
possibly with better mic.
Woo.
Peace.
Okay, bye.